nothing replaces hard work. You know, you can plan all you want, but yeah, nothing replaces the work that you put in. You got to put in the work. I've been super heavy on the dials, and that's what, and especially starting in a new role, like how else are you really going to learn, right? You're going to have a crappy phone call. You're going to have weird, awkward interactions. But, you know, if you have that mindset of always wanting to learn, you can learn from yourself just as much as you can learn from anybody else, right? By the mistakes you're making, even if you didn't make a mistake, but something that you could have done better on that you didn't know. Yeah.
Love that. Drew Weyburn, dude, I am super excited to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, dude, thanks for having me.
This is the first time we've got to meet in person, which is pretty awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I love being able to do these together in person.
It's been nothing but phone calls and over Zoom. Yeah.
And over Zoom. It's crazy. Like, even though I just meet you, like, you can build a pretty good relationship or connection over Zoom or over the phone. Like, I wasn't the instructor while you're coming through, but it's been good to talk with you. But I'm actually excited to, like, actually sit down and hear your story and different things. Because, like we just talked about, I think you can learn a lot from anybody. And I think you got cool experiences and perspectives, and how you're already doing within the tech world is pretty impressive. So I'm excited to even just like sit down and learn with you tonight, which will be cool.
I'm just as excited. Let's get going. It's awesome.
So, this is like one of the worst questions in the whole world, but like, tell me a little bit about Drew Weyburn. Like, tell me a little bit about yourself. So, maybe where you grew up, what you kind of got going on, where you work right now, maybe some cool things you like to do outside of work. Fill us in a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I grew up in Bountiful, right in the valley. Graduated high school 2019. Right after that, I went into door-to-door, which door-to-door is something that like I would do it for half the money just because of how much I learned from that. And yeah, after door-to-door kind of put me in a mindset that I needed to make money really fast. And that's how it is for like a lot of people in door-to-door. They can go out and do it, but I just really couldn't find, I didn't really see me having a future with door-to-door. So I was kind of a little bit, I was doing construction, but then I came across Dojo and got into tech.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so door-to-door into construction.
Mm-hmm.
That's beast.
Yeah, it was something for sure.
And then now we've gotten into tech sales. So where are you working right now?
I work for a company called FileVine. Yeah, we are a legal case management software, kind of like an all-in-one C-suite when it comes to law firms.
Heck yeah, dude. So I know quite a bit about FileVine. I think they raised like a Series D. Like, if you start getting into funding, like, this is a pretty legit and big company that is continuing to grow. And so I think it's a cool spot that you're in. Like, I'm excited to kind of talk about like coming from a door-to-door background from construction into tech. But you've been there now, you said 3 months, right?
Yeah, I started at like beginning of June this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, dude, it's awesome. Like, even on our phone calls, like hearing about some of the things that you're already doing there is pretty impressive. So first thing I would really want to understand is like, talk to me about the transition, like from door to door, like coming out of the door-to-door world, looking for something new. What was that kind of like? Like, you said you didn't really see a future there. What do you kind of mean by that?
At least for me, it was more about sustainability. Summer sales was some of the best times of my life, but kind of just picking up 4 months, 3 months out of the year, however long you knock. Just picking up and going out. And that was something I did for, 3 years. But with that, I didn't really like that. And a big part was what was the money towards the end. Like, I would still do it. Like, I still would do it for half of the money. Cause it taught me a lot, but money does come into it. Mm-hmm. And so as far as like transitioning into it, one thing I learned from door to door is that I love people. I love talking to people, and I love not even selling them something, but being the problem solver. And so, I kind of always knew I would have a spot in sales. Like sales was a skill I had. And so um, coming across Dojo, it was kind of, I remember a link popping up in a Snapchat group chat and was like, yo, check this out. Good way to get into tech sales. I put it off and then I came back to it. And yeah, thank goodness I did, because Dojo was really what got me excited to be an SDR and move into tech. It was a good vehicle into tech.
That's cool. I remember on some of our conversations, like, so one of your buddies came through
Mm-hmm.
the program before, I think. And I
I think it was
remember,
Brennan, right?
yes, Brennan.
Brennan.
And I remember that you'd kind of thought about it. Like we talked, I think it almost had been about a year almost
Mm-hmm.
since you finally came to that decision.
Yeah, I remember I called you. I was actually in Alabama, and Alabama, that was kind of like my last point of knocking, because it was, I don't know what it was, but I hated it out there. I could not sell a thing. I was in a bad mindset. Remember, hopped on a phone call with you on a bench, just down bad, and that's kind of where we first talked, and you introduced me to Dojo. Yeah.
Man. Well, I think it's even cool. Like what even adds to the story is like, you know, you were knocking doors and then you had like a year. I don't know if you could even call it like a discovery period, where it sounds like you even did some construction stuff before you're like, you know what, I'm actually going to do this. Like, I'm actually going to try to get into like a tech B2B type of sales role. Like, what happened in that year gap and like what were going through your head like when you finally made the decision?
Yeah. Well, I had worked at this asphalt company before I worked there in that year gap. And my first time around, I was like 18 and I got fired. And my second time around, I went back and they were like, you know, we still need workers. We'll hire you again if you've gotten better. I'm like, dang right, I've gotten better. And so so I started working there, and it was good money, but any construction job that I had, like I could do it for a while. I could do a good job, but in my mind, I just knew, I'm like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. Like, yeah, it just didn't click with me inside. I didn't feel good in my gut. I still did it because I was, making money. I was getting by. And then it was honestly just, I knew I was going to go into sales, but I didn't know what. Like, I really didn't. I knew tech sales was a word, but I really didn't know what it was at all. And so it really was just by chance I came across Dojo, and yeah, blessed to have some good friends that knew about Dojo and told me about it.
There, that's cool. Well, you're not the only one because I feel like I was in the similar spot. Like I was going to school and I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like I was studying business management, but I didn't really know what that meant for me or
Right.
where that was taking me. And the only reason I felt like I figured out about tech sales was because my dad worked for a San Francisco based tech company. And so when he first introed the idea to me, he's like, Joe, you should go work for one of these tech companies. I was like, I'm not really like a computer guy. Like, I don't know if I'd fit in the tech industry.
That's what I always thought it was coding or computers, software. And it is in a sense, but I was like almost intimidated by tech sales because it's huge,
Yeah, like you hear the word tech, you're like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know, I think software as well. Like, I don't have a computer programming background. But then once I found out, like, hey, there's these customer facing roles that are extremely important. Plus, they pay really well, have good growth, really good cultures at these companies. Like, I kind of got to a point where I was like, man, I tried it and I was like, why don't more people do this? Because I think it's such a great place.
Yeah.
So walk me through that. Like, you've been there for 3 months now, like in a tech sales role. How has that been? Like, what has your experience been like so far?
Um, it's been awesome, really. I didn't go into coming out of Dojo. I had a mindset, like I had an idea of what being an SDR was, but I knew that experience would be the best teacher for that. And so, Dojo helped me honestly get excited and and have a little bit of confidence going into an SDR role. And Filevine is honestly an awesome company. They're revolutionizing the legal, they're revolutionizing legal tech. What they're doing with AI, it's so awesome to work there. I've had wonderful mentors, managers. Shout out to Zainab, she's pretty cool.
Let's go.
Yeah, yes, and yeah, really, that's all I can say. It's just been really, really cool to experience being an SDR with Filevine.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious your thoughts on this. So, when I first got hired as an SDR, I worked at a company called Divvy. They were a financial platform.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, I don't have a financial background, and I'm calling CFOs and like VPs of finance and talking to them about accounting and the software. And I feel like you start to learn, even if you don't have a background in that specific software, like, you start to learn the industry even through the process. So talk to me about like a legal background. I mean, I don't know if you've done any legal stuff like in the past,
No.
but how's it been like adapting to a new industry that maybe you didn't even really know about going in?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Like my first week at Filevine, it was like a fire hose straight to the mouth of information, teaching us about personas in a law firm, who we're trying to talk to, different practice areas in law. And yeah, it was so much to take in, but then I got my first set.
Let's go.
And I was just dialing away. That's one thing that I promised myself I would do going into any tech job. It's a chip on my shoulder. I'm gonna try my best to outdo everyone, right? And I know that might sound selfish, but it's not. I mean it the best. I mean it the best. But yeah, I got my first set, and that's when I was like, okay, I can do this.
Dude,
Yeah.
get one, get another,
Get one.
get
Just
another.
one more. Just one more.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so do you feel like you've been able to like learn as you go about like learn more about the legal industry, like even over these past 3 months? Walk me through that.
Yeah. I think the best way to learn is from like what we were saying before. You can learn anything from anybody. I'll reach out to those who are doing well and pick their brains, see how I can do better. And it's that mindset of always wanting to always like the want for more knowledge or the want to just to get better, 1% better each day. And the more you learn about the industry, you don't need to know. Obviously, I'm not going to know everything a lawyer does or anything, but the more you start to learn about the industry, the more confident you are just talking about it, and not so much the industry, but also the product you're selling. Yeah,
dude, I think it's cool. And the reason I asked that, and it's cool to hear your thoughts, is because I believe that the same thing. Like, I think a lot of times we think we have to be an experts in an arena in order to be in the arena. But, you have the ability to learn and to grow and to adapt. And so you being able to step into a new industry, like a new position, you're like, okay, I don't know everything, but I can learn. And I feel like within 3 months, you've already learned a ton. And I think just from there, you just keep going and all of a sudden you become an expert.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's cool that you step into something that you're not super familiar with. And then you're like, how can I just take the bull by the horns, get to work and, watch good things happen.
Yeah. And nothing replaces hard work. You can plan all you want, but nothing replaces the work that you put in. You got to put in the work. Like, yeah, I've been super heavy on the dials, and that's what, and especially starting in a new role, like how else are you really going to learn, right? You're going to have a crappy phone call. You're going to have weird, awkward interactions, but if you have that mindset of always wanting to learn, you can learn from yourself just as much as you can learn from anybody else, right? By the mistakes you're making, even if you didn't make a mistake, but something that you could have done better on that you didn't know, Um, yeah.
Dude, I love that. I was actually listening to a podcast this morning, and I'm not sure if you know who Justin Sua is.
Mm-mm.
He's like a performance coach, specifically like for athletes. So, but one of the things he talked about was like our relationship with failure and what that looks like. And he said a lot of times people are really afraid to fail and make mistakes. But then I'm on a run listening to this, and he says this quote, and I stopped my run and I like wrote the quote down. But he said, mistakes are making progress in private. Or it's like, um, like you don't always see the progress immediately, but that's where progress is built, is like underneath the failure.
Mhm.
That's where we begin to learn the most. And so
Yeah.
I've really been trying to change my own relationship with failure. And I think in a sales role, it's like essential in order to survive.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And with failure, I think it's also important to, recognize that you failed and made a mistake. No big deal, but it's about how you deal with that. You can let those mistakes eat you alive, if you think about it, but it is 100% like what you just said, your relationship with that failure, because you can turn any mistake. Jocko Willink says it you should look, it's good. He's like, um, didn't get the job you wanted, good. Had a crappy phone call, good. It's an opportunity to make you better. It's a great video. I can't recite it off the top of my head, but yeah, it's how you deal with that failure and overcome it. Not even overcome, just learn from it the best that you can. Whether it's asking a mentor, freaking Googling it, watching YouTube videos, anything.
Yeah. Dude, I love that. I think we have access to so much information. Sometimes we just take it for granted. This is like a little personal story, but I took the month of June off and I went to Ghana and I did this humanitarian
For that
trip.
humanitarian trip.
Yeah. So kind of random I'm bringing this up, but one of the things I learned out there was, Ghana, there's wealthy parts, but then there's also a lot of the remote parts that are a little bit more third world and need aid in different ways. But one of the biggest things that I learned out there was how I was inspiring how these people view the internet. They view education as everything. Like education is how you level up in life and how you progress. And they view the internet as access to unlimited amounts of education. And so they don't always get access to the internet in certain parts of Ghana, but when they do, they just soak up everything and they understand that they have the ability to learn anything they want at the touch of their fingertips. And I'm like, man, I want to have that mentality coming back
Yeah.
to the United States where I take it for granted. But it's like we really do have the ability to learn anything we want when we want it.
Yeah. That's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But so with you being there at Filevine, you've been there 3 months already. Talk to me a little bit about your performance. Like, how have you been doing? Because, dude, you tell me you've been there 3 months and they're already sending you out to conferences. And I've been on teams, like they don't just send normal people out to conferences. And like not everybody gets that opportunity. But like I feel like you've been doing pretty well and you don't have
Yeah.
to talk yourself up, but like
And I won't. I think I've done exceptional. I don't think me personally, I don't think I'll ever be satisfied with how I'm doing.
oof, I love that.
Like, but yeah, I'm still in ramp. I got bumped up to mid market. I started as SMB, and I did fairly well. I think I came into the company at a very, very unique and cool time. Part of it was me and my work ethic. The dials, they see that, how, so that helped me move up. As far as numbers, I'm still in my ramp quota. I'm not getting a whole lot of sets, but I'm getting there. I'm doing all right.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah, I barely missed quota last month. It's all good. This month it's going all right. But I also think like just like focusing on the numbers, like just one more, Like, I don't want to, you can easily get overwhelmed if you, let's say your quota is 8 for the month. If you're looking at 8 and you're at 0, that's a long way to go, right? But if you're at 0 and you just need 1, it's one good conversation away, right? Um, but yeah, them sending me out to events, I think that I had the best time on that event. Kevin McAllister, Home Alone 2, up in my own penthouse suite, felt out of my league. Yeah, it was super cool. I don't know. Yeah, part of it might be my performance, but also I think I just have managers that care about my growth. That's another part about Filevine that's awesome. They are very, very transparent. That is one of their goals for each person that's there, is that they want to see them grow.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's cool. Honestly, I think that's one of the biggest things that you could ever ask for in a company. It's like, yeah, you get paid really well. Great. You know, there's really good growth opportunities. Great. But at the end of the day, like the culture and the leadership that you get to be surrounded by, I think that's what makes or breaks a team. And it sounds like you've had some really cool experiences with managers and
Yeah,
leadership
I've
already at Filevine.
got a pretty bad A team. It's awesome. Love them.
Well, dude, so in regards to that, like, who has been one person, maybe it's inside of Filevine, maybe it's outside, like, who's been a leader or a mentor that you feel like been really instrumental to you just in helping you kind of get to where you're at right now? Like, it can be in the company, it can be outside, but I'm
Yeah.
just curious.
I can name so many people that have helped me get to where I'm at today. But one person that's like really always been a mentor. Well, two people, like my mom, especially. My mom was a bad A single mom raising 2 boys. And yeah, I give her credit. Obviously it's me and how I am, but how I am, I give a lot of credit to her. And also my dad. We haven't always been close, but he always said, Drew, the moment you turn 18 is the moment our relationship changes. Don't know why, but yeah, my dad's been showing up recently, and he's been a big help. Him and his my new stepmom Sarah.
Yeah.
They're awesome. But yeah, within Filevine, yeah, Zainab is pretty cool. Josh Martin, he's the director. The whole onboarding we did, Josh, Colton, and Ryan. It was a huge. If I feel like if the onboarding was any different, it was so good that I feel like I would be going in completely blind if I didn't have the training that they did, and it's also how they did it. They're very, very, very good at their jobs. They know how to train and manage for sure.
Heck yeah, dude. That's cool. Well, like you talk about your mom. I think that's so cool. What has been her reaction, like you getting into a tech company? Like when you told her, like how did that conversation go?
Well, she's always been so supportive, even if she might not think personally that it's a good idea. She and I have a very good relationship that she trusts me, even though it might be hard for her. But when I told her that I was going into tech, it was kind of the same thing when I told her I was going into door to door. She's like, "If you're gonna do it, you know. Can't half-ass it, right?"
Yeah.
But since then, I'll call her every other day, every day if I can. Just she works, I work. I always want to know how she's doing. I don't live at home anymore. But yeah, I'll call her, and you can guarantee after every big day, I call my mom and let her know, and she is there to just scream, "Heck yeah, Drew, I'm so proud of you." And yeah, I'm really blessed to have a person like that in my life to root me on.
Dude,
for sure.
That's way cool. Like I get the chills when you say that. I think having a coach or a mentor, just someone who believes in you more than you believe in yourself sometimes, I think is one of the biggest factors to be able to reach heights that you didn't even know you were capable of. And I feel like your mom is that role, which is pretty epic.
100%. I could talk all day about my mom. She's fantastic. Awesome lady.
That's cool. Well, dude, so would love to hear like as you started to transition like into like Filevine as an SDR, like you did come through the program at Dojo.
Hmm.
Tell me a little bit about like why you decided to actually like join. Because I love how it literally took you a year to make that decision, and then you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do it, and then you ended up getting hired. But like, what went into like you finally pulling the trigger and be like, I'm gonna do this?
You know, my mindset coming out of door to door, I was so beat up. Like, I'll be completely honest. It was, I mean, family aside, other stuff. I was in the worst mindset. Like, yeah. And luckily, I've had a few points in my life where it's been pretty dark, but you know, I've gotten out of it every time. I think coming across Dojo, what made me do it was honestly Brennan. Brennan now, shout out Brennan. He's one of my good friends. We did door to door together. We were we were actually talking about doing Dojo when because we were in Alabama together. We were talking about doing Dojo, and he was like, "Yeah, Drew, I'm gonna do it." And honestly, I was like, "Okay, you let me know how it is." Okay. And then I have another friend, Cole Knutson. He went through it.
Yeah.
He was on the podcast as well.
Yep.
And yeah, hearing from them their positive experience with the cohort and how they actually felt, because I it sounded too good to be true, to be honest. Dojo, like, yeah, we'll train you to be an SDR, and we've partnered with companies, and you know, we'll help you get a job, and we'll make sure you're ready to go, right? And I was like, I don't know, you're giving me a career, like you're doing that. I'm like, I'll wait. And so Brennan did it. He got hired. Cole did it. Got hired. I'm like, you know what? I got to. I was sick. I did asphalt, but I was also at Serve Pro. Serve Pro, it's ran by amazing people, but the type of work, it was the worst. Water mitigation, sucking up sewer water, did some biohazard cleanup. I hated that. And I remember I turned in my 2 weeks, and my final day was May 1st at Serve Pro, and May 1st is right when I started Dojo, and did the cohort 4 weeks. A week after, I got reached out to by one of the recruiters from Filevine, and it was all just right there.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I love hearing that because that's what we want to do, and it's cool that you've had friends go through. It's like
Mhm.
I'm gonna test it. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna even take the
Nothing
jump yet.
against, like, I'm glad I did it. Nothing against you, but
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm very, yeah. Hindsight, I could have just gone into it, but I got to be precautious.
Dude, that's part of the story. I love that. You're like, I'm gonna send one friend through. They
Yeah.
get hired. They're crushing it. Send another one through. They got hired. They're doing well. It's like, that's cool.
Yeah, you just have to give it a shot. Yeah, 100%.
That's awesome. Well, dude, what was like one of your biggest takeaways? Like coming through the program, what was one of the biggest things that you learned that you just still think about that's either helped you in the role or just continues to like emulate like what you do and who you are?
There was one thing that I'm still like getting better on, but the fact that Dojo touched on it is, as I've been in this role, is pretty awesome. Was the white glove treatment.
Mm,
How to deal with prospects after you get the set, because there's a lot that can happen after you get a set, and so making sure that, you know, the prospect shows, you still keep building value after after you set the meeting, keep them excited. That's something that I'm continuing to work on. You can always get better at how you treat your future your prospects, but that's one thing that I'm very happy I went into a SDR role with. And also, I needed a little refresher with mindset, but we covered Why by what's his name?
oh, Simon Sinek.
Yeah, Simon Sinek, and we also went over Extreme Ownership from Jocko Willink, one of my favorite books, and tying that in with the information and all the knowledge that you were giving us was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you had James. He's the VP of sales at Lift Local. He's one
Mhm.
of the instructors during the course. We talked about this before, but I just want to hear your thoughts on it again. Like we talked a lot about like Kobe and that Mamba mentality.
Mhm.
you said that that was something that also stuck with you, and you said that you've been like applying it, or you're trying to
Yeah.
like use that more as a team at Filevine. Like, walk me through
Yeah.
even that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. So in the course we watched, do you know the Dream Team?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So Dream Team, it was, um, US had a pretty bad Olympic basketball team, and one year we decided to, get pretty good. And uh, it was Kobe, LeBron, D Wade, Chris Bosh, all the big names. And their first night out, they're getting ready for the Olympics, and everybody's out partying. It's 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Everyone starts coming back, and LeBron and the whole team sees Kobe in the lobby in his gym shorts, ready to go to the gym.
Mm.
He's all worked up. And so Kobe goes to the gym, everybody goes to sleep. Next night, same thing, but now there's two people in the gym. It's LeBron and Kobe. And after that, it's D Wade, LeBron and Kobe, to the point that the entire team is now in the gym, bright and early, getting ready. And Kobe didn't say anything. He didn't demand it. All he did was show up and set an example, right? And so taking that into this SDR role, I was super lucky. Chris Dunlop, man, I forgot to mention him earlier. Chris Dunlop and Jake Sanborn, they're some ballers. But Chris actually went through the dojo with me. We were in the same cohort, and yeah, we were calling before texting, and we went in and we're like, we learned that the numbers we were supposed to hit, 50 dials a day, 50 emails a day, 10 prospects added. I make more dials, I do pretty high amounts of dials. Freaking Chris, he's at like 120, 130 a day, right? And I don't know how he does it. I mean, I haven't gotten to that yet, but I'm trying to keep up. But we went into this and we were like, we just got to Kobe the crap out of these guys. And not even just with dials, with questions, with wanting to get better, just set the example, and since then, I don't know. I mean, the team's picked up. I don't know. Even you shouldn't even do it if it has an influence on the team. You should just want to Kobe the crap out of everywhere you go. Out of everywhere you go.
That's cool. I think it's cool that James showed that coming to the program.
Yeah.
And I just love that mentality.
Yeah, it's a good mentality to have for sure.
Well, dude, I appreciate you like taking time. Like, I know you got a million things going on, but I think the coolest part about being able to just sit here and talk with you is like being able to get a glimpse of like who is Drew Weyburn and like what goes into, you pushing yourself, you wanting to be better. Sometimes it's hardship. Sometimes it's like motivations of success and like taking risk, but it's cool how it can all culminate. And I feel like we've hit this cool milestone of like, dude, you're in a tech company, you're kicking butt, you're learning, you're trying to grow. But honestly, it's just the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I think there's so much growth that takes place within a tech company, but also I think there's so much that is still yet to come. And so as you keep moving forward, like if you keep the same mentality that you have right now, like no doubt amazing things are just going to continue to happen. And you'll look back and be like, man, like look at the kid I was and like look how far I've come since then. So I'm excited for you, man.
I'm just as excited. Funny you say that. There's this website. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, but you can put it in and you can write a letter to yourself, right?
No way.
And you can have it delivered whenever you want. I did one last night. It's gonna be mailed out to me in 10 years.
No way.
And so yeah, I'll send you the link after this. But Matthew McConaughey said it too. That's his role model. Him in 10 years. The person you are now meets who you are in 10 years. Your role model is still going to be you in 10 years. You're never going to be the person you want to be, but that it's not about the end goal. It's about the whole journey there. for sure.
Dude, man, I have nothing to add to that. That is powerful. Dude, if I just kind of want to wrap things up, like if there's one thing that you want people to remember about Drew Weyburn, like what is that? Like what do you want people to know about you?
Well, I want to be known as, humble, nice, caring. But one thing that I've always taken a lot of pride in is I love to be known by my work ethic. Like if someone asks me to do something, they know that not only I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it to the absolute best of my capability. Um, and to consistently keep doing that, because you can do, what's that saying? It's like without commitment, you know what I'm talking about. Without commitment, no, with commitment you can always start, but without consistency you can't finish, right? Um, I want to be known for consistently showing up, and following through on my commitments, having a gritty work ethic.
Dang, dude. Well, I think you're doing a killer job. Like, I think you coming through the program is cool because it just shows, like, I want to invest in myself. I want to get better. You getting hired, not only getting hired, but like building a culture. Like, how cool is that? I think it's one thing to crush your job as an individual, but I think the greatest of all time, like the Tom Brady's of the world, make everybody around them better. And I feel like that is what you embody. And so, like, when I hear you say work ethic, like, I never view that selfishly. I view it as, like, I want to be that example. I want to be Kobe. I want to bring people with me to the top.
Yeah.
And, dude, I just think you're a stud.
Yeah, you're dope. You're dope too, Darren.
I appreciate it. Well, dude, thanks for taking time to be on here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. First podcast. So cool. So cool.
Let's go. Let's do it again. So,
Heck yeah.
Drew Weyburn, Bilevine SDR, kicking butt, just the beginning.
Heck yeah.